Welcome to Physical Geography. This is a hybrid class, which means that we will be doing part of our work online and part of our work in a face-to-face classroom that will meet on Fridays. I have assigned for you to read the syllabus in the first week, and it's a very detailed document that I want you to carefully read from front to back. I do want you to read all of the details and be familiar of it. A syllabus is a way for you to understand the expectations of the instructor, to learn all of the facts and the details that you will need to navigate both the online portion and prepare for your face-to-face time with the instructor. Please take the time to read that syllabus. Don't wait until you have a question to reference your syllabus or email your instructor, which is fine to email the instructor after you've read the syllabus and you've checked it twice. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll introduce the course and what we will be covering in this course. But first, a brief introduction of me and how I came to be your instructor in physical geography. I have a bachelor's in biology, and I spent 10 years as a marine biologist. This was one of the jobs that I had, and this was actually a sailboat that I was working on doing photo identification of humpback whales. And I did have a camera in my hand, which you can't see, and I was tasked with getting pictures of the sides of the whales and the flukes to put into a photo ID catalog so we could identify individuals. I spent about 10 years working on different marine biology projects, mostly with whales and dolphins, and it was during a sea turtle project that I became interested in mapping, and that's why I went back to school for a degree in geography, and that's why I ended up teaching this class with you. So just to show you that I do have quite a lot of background as a student, I did begin my college career at Southwestern College. I transferred to San Diego State University and got a degree in biology. I have some work at UCSD on how to be a community college instructor. I also studied at San Jose State for marine science and Oregon State University for geography. My specialty is GI science, which is geographic information science, and I specialize in making maps. This is a very long list, and you certainly do not need to commit any of this to memory. I just wanted to show you some of the really amazing projects that I've worked on, and this is mostly to encourage you as a student. I began with the very first project that you see up there, diving for urchins and seagrass in the San Diego Bay, and I also studied mussels, moved on to studying killer whales, and you can see down that list I continued on mostly with whales and dolphins and sea turtles. I did some work with elephants in Africa as well just 2 years ago. And the reason for showing you this list is that there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. Some of these projects I did as a volunteer, especially early on in my career, and some of them I found out through courses, or I got units for school, and then eventually as I became more skilled and more developed in my professional abilities, I was paid to do a lot of these opportunities. When I'm not teaching, I am a curriculum writer, and I write lessons covering geoscience instruction for undergraduates and graduates. I am currently working on a book called Magnificent Marine Migrations, and I've also published in the books that you see here, Marine Geography and Conservation Geography. I am also working on an NSF project writing lessons about climate change. Okay, so what do you need to know about the syllabus and understanding the syllabus? The first thing is to read it and then read it again. I know it's a long document. I know it's very factual, and it may not be the most exciting part of your day, but it is a very good outline and guideline for you for the course. It's a contract between you and me. It really outlines what my expectations are, and if you get to know an instructor, then you have a good insight into what they're expecting and how you'll earn your grade. All of that is laid out very clearly for you in the syllabus. Also, please keep your syllabus handy and check it before you email. If you have a question like when is our exam, what chapter will we cover, what did I miss when I was absent, please check your syllabus first. Again, there's a lot of detail and a lot of information in that document, and that's really going to be a good reference point for you. Please do not take this to mean I don't want you to email me, because I do want to hear from you and I want to connect with you as much as possible, but you don't have to wait to check your syllabus if you want to know an exam date or you want to know what we covered in class like last week. You have that information right at your fingertips. So what will you need for class? This is really referring to the face-to-face class. When you come, please bring your textbook with you. Make sure that you've read the assignment for the week. That's going to help you with the vocabulary, and it will help you with your understanding and comprehension of the lecture. Some other things to really make sure, this may be obvious or intuitive to you, but we all get busy, and students I know are some of the busiest people on the planet. Make sure that you pay attention to being well rested, well fed, and prepared and open. So don't neglect your sleep, don't neglect your nutrition, and don't neglect your preparation time. It's easy to get distracted and we're pulled in a lot of different directions, but you signed up for this class and you have some goals in taking this class. Make sure you give yourselves every advantage and opportunity, and I promise that if you do these 3 things shown here, by sleeping right, eating well, and being prepared with an open mind, you're going to do well in the class. Also, I'd like you to bring colored pencils for our mapping activities to the face-to-face class. What will we learn? Again, this is another long list for you. I'd just like you to take a moment and just browse down that list. You can pause the video if you would like. Okay, so there may have been some things in there that you were expecting, and there may have been some that you weren't expecting, and there might be some things missing. Most students tell me that they think that we're going to make maps labeling the states and the countries of the world and maybe state capitals and the names of rivers and things like that. For the most part, that's place-based geography, and we're actually going to focus on thematic maps and maps that convey data sets. That doesn't mean that you won't be putting labels on maps, but the emphasis in this class is not just the memorization of where things are. The emphasis in this class is how do patterns work? How do systems work? How do cycles work in our environment? Specifically the rock cycle, the carbon cycle, the atmospheric cycle. What is weather? What is climate? How do waves work on the ocean? So when we use maps, we're really going to be mapping data sets that are used by scientists. And so you'll be going beyond just where things are to how do things work, and using maps as tools to do that. Pretty typical classroom behavior. I rarely have problems with this, but just make sure you are on top of be punctual, be prepared, always be polite, and be kind. We do a lot of group work. I ask you to speak out in class in discussions and answering my questions. I want to really have a room full of respect. The same thing with our online environment. Please be polite and be kind. And always remember that there's a person on the end of your remarks or your questions or comments. Participate. You will be given points for participation, and a lot of the assignments that you will be tasked to do are really based on, did you participate? Did you follow the directions and do what was asked of you? That's a pretty good deal for you to be getting those points, especially if you're a little bit nervous and you don't do well on an exam, or you miss an assignment or something happens. If your participation is strong, that's going to help your grade. No food or drink when we meet face to face, and it is a no cell phone zone. I can enforce this in my class. I would like for you to adopt a policy that when you are in your study time, turn your devices off. Turn off your cell phone, turn off your Facebook, turn off your email, and really focus. I promise if you do this, your study time will be more rewarding. It will go quicker. You will develop a better understanding and grasp of the material in a shorter amount of time. Distractions rob us of our study time. Each distraction is going to cost you anywhere from 5 to 12 minutes, depending upon how engaged with that distraction you get. So whether it's a text message from your friend, a Facebook post that catches your eye, or an email that you have to respond to right then and there, which most emails really don't need to be responded to that quickly, put it on hold for your study time. Set aside that time, focus on your studies, and then when you're done, you can go back to your devices and your social media. Some email suggestions. I hope that you continue these on not only for this class, but also beyond in your professional life. Email is the preferred method of communication for most professionals in most careers and in most industries. I hope that you learn how to use email well. So let's go over some of the rules. If you have a question, read your syllabus first. Next, check Canvas. Don't forget the announcements in Canvas. There's some information that might not be in your syllabus, but is current and changes from week to week. Email me for all class-related questions that you can't find on the syllabus or in Canvas. Get a study buddy. You want to have somebody that you're going to see each week in class that you could email if you miss class to ask what happened. That person may meet you for study time, and they may be able to give you some insight into the activities that we did. I'm happy to help you with that as well, but it's always good to have a couple people that you can email so you can get your information as soon as possible. In your email, please write a professional business style email and tell me who you are, what class, day, and time, along with your inquiry or message. I do the best that I can to get to know all of you, but I have many students in a semester, and I probably won't recognize your email address. So let me know what class you're from. That helps me direct my response back to you. And finally, do not use profanity, emotions, or frustrations in an email. Do not use texting language, and do not use things like LOL, OMG, hashtag seriously. Please do not treat an email like you would a text message. An email needs to be a document that the person on the other end can gather what it is that you're inquiring about and then reply back to you with one reply, so that there's not many responses back and forth with things like, well, what class are you in, and which section are you asking me about? How will you earn a grade in this class? It's important for you to understand my philosophy. I don't give you a grade, you earn one. We'll have 3 exams on the material, and they're 50 points each for 150 points. We have a final, which is comprehensive, of 100 points and includes questions from the first 3 exams. We will have classroom activities and hybrid activities. So you'll be doing classroom activities when we meet on Fridays, short, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, some a little bit longer, covering the material for the week. You'll also have hybrid activities that you are expected to complete on your own and submit via Canvas. There will be a discussion board, and there are 4 required discussions. I will provide you with specific details as they come up. We don't have one until the 3rd week of our class time together, but you are expected to contribute to the discussion board and learn from each other and help each other out with some questions regarding the material that we cover in your reading and in class. And there will be opportunities for extra credits, a potential of 20 points possible. Canvas is going to be your go-to online site for the online portion of this class. Please make sure that you know how to navigate Canvas. If you are new, there are help functions that you can review, and there's tutorials that are maintained by the manufacturers and producers of Canvas, and they're very helpful. And they are a really great go-to place. I provide a link for that in your syllabus. Make sure you keep an eye out for that, and don't hesitate to jump in there and see what guidance and help that they can give you. It will solve most of your problems and answer most of your questions. You will submit your hybrid assignments in Canvas. You will also do your exams and your discussion board. The lectures are archived on Canvas, which means that you have the opportunity to read them and print them out before class. Now, I will share with you that as an instructor, reading a PowerPoint series of slides is not the most useful way to learn material. When I say read the slides, what I want you to do is I want you to have them handy while you're doing your reading, And I also want you to bring them to class if you print them out so you can take notes right on the handouts. The reason for this is we have a lot of complex diagrams, we have maps, we have cycles, we have charts, and it's really helpful if you have that as you're seeing it in class with our time together and having it in front of you. You can just make notes in the margin rather than trying to copy down a complex diagram in a hurry. And finally, in Canvas, I want you to check announcements from me. There is an ability to set a notification so that you can get an email feature whenever I update assignments or I post an announcement. That way you get an email that says, hey, there's something new in Canvas. I'd like you to go and check it out. We will also have field trips. As geographers, it's important that we get out in the world and find out about our environment. So we have 2 scheduled field trips. One is to the San Diego Zoo, where we're going to take advantage of their wonderful exhibits, and we're going to study different climates from around the world as we walk around the San Diego Zoo. And so we're going to go in and we're going to look at what a polar environment is like. We're going to look at a desert environment. We're going to look at a tropical rainforest and a temperate rainforest all in one day. And we're going to go and we're going to see how the plants are structured and shaped differently and how the animals are adapted to those different climates, so we get a better understanding of how climates vary according to geographic location around the globe. And we are also going to go to Imperial Beach for our waves field trip in order to study wave dynamics and coastal processes. We will be going out to Imperial Beach and studying the waves from the pier. Just a few tips for you how to stay on track in this class. You'll notice in your syllabus that there's a class schedule. In that class schedule, it's in table format. The first column is the week or the date. The next one is the hybrid assignment for that week. The next one is the lecture topic. And the final column tells you the chapters that you are expected to read before you come to class. Create your own calendar, and what I mean by this is set aside a time for not only your hybrid time for this class, but also for your study time. A good pointer here is don't do your assignments the day they're due, especially your hybrid assignments, because if you run into trouble and you need help, you may not be able to get a hold of me on Friday morning before we meet at 10 a.m. in order to get your question solved and to get some support and help on that assignment. It's better to start the assignments earlier in the week. And create your own calendar. Treat your hybrid time and your study time as an appointment. Make that appointment with yourself and keep it. Again, it's very easy to get distracted and other things pull at our attention and our time. Take your work as a student seriously and really set that time for yourself. Make sure you're setting aside time for both hybrid hours and, again, additional study. So the college recommendation is that you have study and preparation time of approximately 3 hours for each unit in a non-majors course, or 9 hours for a class. Now the minimum recommendation is 2 hours per unit, which would be 6 hours for this class. I'm putting 9 hours here because I would rather you overestimate than underestimate, and don't forget each week there's an hour and a half of hybrid time that I don't consider to be study time. That's our contact time. Along with our face-to-face time, that totals up to be 3 hours a week. So essentially, this class should take you about 12 hours a week. If you're not doing well in the class and you're not putting in nearly that amount of time, that's the first place to start, is you've got to invest the time. Do what you need to do. Set reminders in your iPhone if necessary for deadlines. Right away, the very first day of class, set those reminders a few days out of when assignments are due and when exams are due so that you can keep on track. Okay, a little bit about focus and study time. I mentioned this earlier with turning off your devices. Here's a few tips to really maximize your study time. Set regular study hours and keep to them. Again, that's an appointment you keep with yourself. Plan on when you're going to do your homework. When are you going to do your studying? When are you going to do your hybrid assignments? Because it won't just happen. And it's too easy to ignore these things, then you miss the deadline and you miss points. Learn your learning style. Your job is to be a student. People learn in different ways. There's visual learners, There's kinesthetic learners and there's audio learners, and most of us are a combination of those styles. It's if you know how you learn best, that's going to direct how you should study. Don't multitask. Almost everybody that you know will say in today's digital age, I am a pro at multitasking. I am so good at multitasking. I can drive in my car and talk on my cell phone and drink my morning coffee on the freeway on my way to work while I put on my makeup. That sounds a little dangerous to me, if you ask me. And multitasking, it's been proven that multitasking is inefficient. We feel productive because we're doing so many things at once, but what we're really doing is we're scattered and our attention is diverted into many different things. So when you're studying, just study, get the job done, do the best you can, and use all of your brain power for studying. And that means no TV, no Facebook, no Twitter, no texting. Studies have shown that soothing music, usually without lyrics, can be an exception to this, as it stimulates a part of your brain that engages in learning. So it can actually calm and relax you and put you in a state that makes you more conducive to learning. So find some nice classical music or scores for movies or things that you like and listen to that while you're studying. Turn off all your devices. Again, an interruption can take up to 6 minutes for you to refocus back on what you were doing. 6 minutes. That means if you get 5 text messages in an hour, that's a half an hour lost. Half an hour. Because you have to respond to the text and you lose your place and then you have to go back in. And I know a lot of people have told me, oh, I can refocus much quicker. My concentration is really good. Again, those are the same people who brag about being good multitaskers. And I'm not saying that you can't do it. What I'm saying is that you will be so much more efficient if you don't force your brain to refocus after interruptions. And just to finish up here, my cell phone policy, and I am a stickler on this, there are no cell phones in class. There may be an exception once in a while if I want you to look at a smartphone feature, such as the weather, or a particular website. But in general, and this is your rule of thumb, always remember this. I want cell phones turned off. I want them out of sight and out of mind. I don't want them on the desk in front of you. I don't want them turned to vibrate in your pocket, because that is going to distract you if your cell phone goes off. And let's face it, we can hear when a cell phone vibrates. It's distracting to the people around you. It's distracting to myself, and there's no exceptions. If you think you have an emergency, and I have had a couple of students in my 10 years of teaching that needed to have their phones on. One student was in the military and was expecting a call to duty, and one student had come to class as his wife was about to go into labor and have a baby. So I made the exception that he could keep his phone on notify in case his wife needed to call him. If you think you have an emergency, please contact and check with me before you put your phone on vibrate or have it out. That's it for our time together. Please review your syllabus, and I look forward to meeting each of you in class.